Welcome to Walk and Yap. I'm Doe, and we are joined today with the wonderful Stephen Washington from Stephen Washington Experience. And he is a Qigong practitioner and teacher. Welcome, Stephen.
Hi, Doe. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thank you for joining us. So I guess we'll just get right into it. What is Qigong?
Qigong is an ancient Chinese healthcare system that combines standing postures, flowing movements, breath techniques, as well as focused intention to activate, cultivate, and circulate life force energy. And what's life force energy? Life force energy is that energy that's behind that spark that keeps your heart beating and moves the blood through your veins. That's the life force energy, and it lives within us, but it also interacts with all the energy that's all around us in the universe. So Qigong is a practice of cultivating that.
That sounds wonderful, and I don't know how to say it, but I'm just going to refer to it as, is it, I was calling it Qigong, or how do you say it?
Qigong.
Qigong.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
If I mess up, just laugh.
That's okay, I will laugh. That's okay. I'll be laughing with you, not at you though. You'd be surprised
okay.
how many different variations I've heard on that.
The Gong Show. That's what I. Anyways, so how is it different than like yoga, for example?
Well, I mean, it's different in a lot of different ways, and it's also kind of similar. But what I can say is, one thing about Qigong that's amazing and that makes it really appropriate for just about everyone is that it's highly adaptive.
Okay.
It's highly adaptive. Yeah. So you can modify exercises where you need to. They're both mindful movement practices, so they're similar in that respect. You're guided through the experience of doing yoga and also Qigong, and invited to pay attention to what's happening in your body in the moment. There are lots of different ways.
I'm sorry, I was going to say, is it like slow movements or repetitive movements? Like it's similar to yoga in that respect?
It is.
Would you call it like a workout or more of like an exercise, like a daily? Is it more mental, emotional, and physical, or is it? I don't know how to.
Yeah,
someone's never heard of it before.
No. There's a lot of. Okay, so the first thing is that it is. What was your first question? Was is it a workout?
Mm-hmm.
It can be. We practice Qigong for a few different reasons. You can practice Qigong as a martial arts form, because there are different types of Qigong that are like martial art forms, like Tai Chi and Kung Fu. And then you can also practice it as a health and well-being practice. And then you can also practice it in terms of having more of a spiritual focus. So there are three different categories with it. Qigong, we generally repeat movements multiple times. So it's very simple movements done multiple times. Whereas with yoga, you're doing movements that you repeat, but you'll do several movements and it can turn into a flow.
Right.
So that's one way to look at how the two are kind of different in some respects. But you can definitely do Qigong in a way that challenges the body, in a way that yoga challenges the body. But you can also do it in a really gentle way and a more restorative way, much like there are different types of yoga practices that are much more restorative rather than a workout like a Bikram class, or like a core power yoga class. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like the goal of it is like a daily practice for overall well-being, mental, emotional, and physical?
Absolutely.
Gotcha. All right.
It's a great tool. It's a great tool to use to manage stress.
Okay.
And give yourself more energy.
Like as far as time, people should do it every day or once a week? And is it like a 10 minutes or a 20-minute thing? Or is it, I mean, I know it would be varied depending on the person, but ideally, if
Yeah.
someone wants to start incorporating it into their life, is it like a once a week thing or like a daily thing?
I think it's very individual. It's one of those things where with any practice, the more you do it, the more you're going to get out of it.
Okay.
The more that you invest in it, the more that you're going to get out of it. There's more, you'll get more benefits for your physical body. You'll get more benefits for in terms of your emotional being, as well as you'll get, the more you do it, the more you will get out of it psychologically in terms of its ability to help you focus your mind. But what I can say, and I'm looking at it from my own practice, I mean, there are some days when I have an hour to practice. There are some days when I have 20 minutes to practice. And there are some days when I have just 10 minutes to practice. And the days where I just have 10 minutes to practice, I cannot say that those 10 minutes aren't as valuable as that hour.
Wow. So how did you get into it in the first place?
I started doing Qigong back in 2014. When I was a student at Five Branches University in San Jose, California. I was studying to be a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, and it was part of the curriculum. And what happened for me was I was exposed to this ancient Chinese practice, and it was really helpful for me because it was a very stressful time being in graduate school.
Yeah.
And then what happened for me in the end is that I ended up not becoming a Chinese medicine doctor. I ended up going in a different direction. But the Qigong has stayed with me, and the love of it began then. And then from there, I worked to get my certification so that I can teach it and share the medicine with other people. And I've been using it in my own life and sharing it with others ever since.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, it's not something I've really heard of. Like yoga kind of blew up over the last 20 years or so, where you wouldn't really see yoga studios everywhere, and now you see them everywhere. And then even Tai Chi, I think people are more familiar with it. But this is, I mean, it sounds too like it's somehow more focused, like your full body is a part of it, whereas yoga can be more like a workout where you do the poses, and when you know the poses, you might lose that present moment focus. But it sounds like this is really connected.
Yes. I mean, there is definitely in Qigong, there is a goal of bringing the body, the mind, and the spirit in alignment. And when I refer to the body, mind, and the spirit in Qigong, in Chinese medicine, there are 3 energy centers in the body. The Jing, Qi, and Shen. Jing is located in your belly. Qi is located in your chest, and Shen is located in your third eye center. They also correspond with the Dantians, which are also energy centers, lower Dantian, middle Dantian, and upper Dantian. And we work for those energy centers to be full and for the energy between them to flow freely. And especially the lower Dantian in your belly, we want that one to be so full that it overflows with energy into the meridians. And the meridians are the pathways of energy that run through your entire body. So Qigong, we really work to bring harmony and balance to your body, your mind, and your spirit.
That's amazing. It sounds a little bit like chakras. Is it similar to chakras? Okay. Just different centers. I've heard of the meridians too, like trigger point therapy and trigger point therapy massages when there's 2 places and they connect and it's like a zap of electricity. So does it, I'm going to say it wrong again. Does Kijong, when you're doing the exercises, does it open up areas that may be blocked or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, when
I
we
need
look
to do
at
some of that.
Yeah, we all do. We could all benefit from it. So when we have areas of the body where energy is blocked, what tends to manifest is tension, tightness, pain. So what Qigong does, as well as, massage and acupuncture, acupressure, what they do is to work to open up those areas where the energy is blocked. And in Qigong, we do it through stretching, through warming up the body, stretching, and then doing flowing movements. And then also using the mind to just guide and direct the energy, and using the breath to guide and direct the energy. So Qigong is a wonderful practice to open up those areas along those meridian lines, which run through the body, so that the energy can flow freely. So there's less pain, less tension, less tightness.
Mm-hmm. Well, you remember how we first met? Was I saw your video that you posted on Facebook, and it was something about the shoulder, and I was having a
Oh,
sore
yeah.
shoulder, and I did this thing, and all of a sudden I was like, "Whoa, that feels amazing!" And I think I commented that, and then that's how we ended up meeting. And I, shared. I was like, "Do this, it's amazing," because it was like instant. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just following exactly. That's what a good teacher does. I was following exactly what you're saying and doing, and all of a sudden it just like opened up. And I should, if I had some sense, I would do that like every morning. But you have a bunch of videos that people can see on YouTube. So they don't have to just kind of try to remember or learn it themselves. They could follow what you're doing in the morning.
Absolutely.
I remember that other one that you did, the wave. That being said, like that would be a good thing to start every morning with. And that only took like a couple minutes.
Yeah, I mean, look at that video that you watched and how you were able to get benefit and feel it in your body in just a short period of time. Just like I was saying earlier when you asked about how, if someone is thinking about doing Qigong, how should they go about it? How much time should they invest in it? I think starting out with my little short Qigong videos on Facebook, YouTube, or even Instagram at the Stephen Washington Experience, you can begin a practice today, right where you are. Yeah. And
people could just, I'm sorry, I was going to say people could just try like one and see an immediate difference, and then maybe that gets more interest. And then you have longer videos, and you even do courses. And what are the courses?
The courses, I have several online courses, and you can find them on my website, StephenWashingtonExperience.com.
I'm going to put links.
Oh, great. So you can find them there, but I have my first course was a course called 5 Days to Peace. So it's a 5-day Qigong course that looks at all the different principles of movement in Qigong, like relaxation, resiliency, moving from your center, moving with a sense of joy, and also moving and connecting to your breath. So in 5 days, we explore those movement principles. And by the end, or even before those 5 days are over, you'll feel an overall better sense of peace in your body and in your overall, in your life. Oh, you're frozen, Doe. You still there with me?
I think we both froze for a minute there.
I'm glad we're back.
Don't leave. I was like on Titanic, come back. And then you did. Yeah, you came back, but anyway, okay, so you came back, but we got to like the fighting and resilience. Wonky.
Oh, you're breaking up again.
Oh no.
Hello?
I see you.
Okay, I see you. You're frozen, but I can hear you. And now you're moving again. What a beautiful neighborhood you're in.
We have too much chi.
We have too much.
What's going on with this? Yeah. Our chi is overflowing.
Yes. Yes.
You hear?
So where were we? Where were we? Ah, yay.
Hi.
Hello.
I don't even know what happened. I think our chi is overflowing. That's what I'm going to blame it on.
Yes.
It was, you know what, though? I think it was the platform, because it popped up as like something went wrong. So I don't think it was either of us.
Okay. Well, good.
We're fine. Okay. So the
where
5.
were we? 5 Days to Peace.
Take it from the top.
I also have a course called 5 Days to Power. And I also created a course that's related to addiction recovery. And it's called Release, Recover, and Renew. And
but the 5 Days to Peace, what were the 5 parts? I think that's where we got disconnected.
Yes. So the movement principles of Qigong are relaxation, moving with a sense of relaxation.
Mm-hmm.
And then moving with resiliency, meaning that you have a proper blend of flexibility and strength. I mean, you look at a tree that will survive and grow to be tall and full of life, has the proper amount of strength so that it can grow and be tall, but also resiliency, meaning flexibility, so that when the wind blows, it can move with the wind and not be brittle and break and snap.
Yes.
So basically, we want the same thing in the physical body. We want to move with a sense of joy, right? It's good to do when you are moving your body. It's wonderful to enjoy moving your body and not feel that it's a burden or an inconvenience. Because if you enjoy it, you're more likely to do it and continue to do it. And moving your body from your center. We have our center of our body is where we hold our power. Oftentimes we move our bodies from our extremities, but if we start from moving from the center, and then the energy goes out to the extremities from the center, from a strong center, then we move more efficiently. And then also moving with the breath, connecting your movement to the breath is important as well.
That what I thought there too is when you said something about the moving with joy and moving freely and resilient. If someone has a stuck energy, that the Qigong can help free up. Because if someone has stuck energy in it and it manifests as pain, they don't want to move. You don't want to move at all, and that would make it worse and worse. But then if you're doing the Qigong, and you open that up, then you want to move more and you want to keep the flow, and it expands. So this is really a whole life-changing thing.
Yes.
It's can be like an all-day thing, basically.
Absolutely.
With the breath.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, one thing that's great about Qigong is that it can truly meet you where you're at, no matter what your physical challenges are. I was working with a woman yesterday who has a lot of physical challenges. She's in her early 60s. She has problems with her spine as well as her pelvis. Sometimes it's easy for her to overdo it, and then she suffers in the long run because the pain is just unbearable for her. But what she found was, when she found me and she found Qigong, she found that she could do the exercises. She can do a lot of the exercises. And so that was really thrilling for her. So we had a session yesterday for the first time together. I do one-on-one sessions with people. And where she needed to start was in a chair. So we did the session predominantly in a chair. And that's the amazing gift of Qigong. You can be laying in a bed and do Qigong. So for people who are, have even more limited mobility, there's so much that you can do in the bed, as well as in terms of gentle exercise. And you can always connect to your breath. And that's the foundation of it all as well. Yeah.
Oh, that would be world changing for people that have MS or lupus and fibromyalgia, or even people that just haven't exercised in a couple decades. And, that's amazing. And then you have a bunch of, like you said, a bunch of intro type of videos on YouTube, because it seems like sometimes when you hear about something brand new, it's not brand new, obviously, but it's brand new to people hearing it. It might seem overwhelming, oh, there's way too much to learn, I don't have time for that. But just by how you've set it up, having some videos and the way you explain it, even today, it's that we'll just start. I mean, if it's a big book, read a page, see if you like it, and read another one,
Yes.
And then keep going, because it's really amazing.
Yes.
And I feel bad for not doing that shoulder thing and the wave every morning. I did for a while. I did the wave every morning for a while, and then for some reason I forgot.
Well, there you go. But you know what it is, and you can always go back to it when you really need it. And that's the thing.
Start again.
I mean, Qigong is not a practice where you need to be in competition with yourself. It's not a practice where you need to judge yourself and be hard on yourself. It's an easy, gentle practice of the body, but also emotionally and also mentally. I often think of how it's easy for people to look at something that's new and be intimidated by it because they've never done it before. How can you possibly expect yourself to be an expert at something that you've never done before in your entire life?
Thank you.
Yeah, so get that out of your head. It's okay. You don't have to be an expert at something you've never done. And even if you've been doing it for many, many, many years, there's always more to learn. There's always
That's
more to
great.
learn and more to explore. So it's about just starting from where you are and beginning a practice. And the practice can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day or every other day. Start where you are and just take it one step at a time going forward.
Well, and I think too, especially in stressful times or in times when there's a lot that could steal away our focus and intention. If it's
Mm-hmm.
something brand new, that might be even better because you can like dive right in and start,
Yeah.
oh, I don't have time to be angered by whatever's going on TV or worried about whatever might happen in the future. I'm gonna give myself this time to
Mm-hmm.
learn something that is gonna
Mm-hmm.
feel wonderful,
Yeah.
and reduce stress, which
Yeah.
that can be a big problem too in itself. That causes a lot of illness and disease and pain. Is just stress alone.
Oh, absolutely. You know,
So,
all the research that shows the correlation between stress and a lot of chronic diseases. Absolutely. And I think Qigong is a wonderful practice that one can use to help manage your stress. And if you can manage your stress in an effective and efficient way, and hopefully a joyous way, then the benefits to your health are just countless,
mhm. How do
countless.
you think it's changed you in the past 6 years?
Oh gosh. Ooh. Okay.
Let me
So
just bomb you with a question.
no, it's good. That's a good question. It's changed me in so many different ways. What it's done is it's given me a tool that I could use, and that it's always available to me, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Um, it's always available to me in order to give myself energy when I feel like I'm tired or run down. It can give me a little boost of energy. It's a useful tool for me when I'm feeling emotionally overwhelmed.
Hmm.
It's a really powerful tool for me to just settle my emotions, and also just gain a bit more clarity about what is it that I'm feeling. What is it that I'm feeling? Is what I'm feeling mine, or is it something that I've taken on from someone else? It gives me clarity of in terms of that, and also just helps me to focus my mind when I'm feeling scattered, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, when I'm feeling like my mind is racing. It gives me something to focus my mind on.
Hmm.
I love to do it I before I have like an interview like this, or before I work with a client to have my own practice, just to center myself. It's an
Uh-huh.
amazing tool to just center myself.
So it connects you more with like your intuition.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
and then the other part of what you had mentioned, that you had a course on addiction.
Hmm.
It seems like in those times of like immediate stress, it's going to give you a tool instead of like reaching for a drink or, you
Hmm.
know, grabbing some cookies out of the fridge or something like that.
Hmm.
This is something else that you can kind of escape to in a very healthy way to get
Hmm.
over that or get through that emotional spike. I didn't
Yeah.
even know that, but I was just
Yeah.
thinking that because when you were saying that and all that, feeling all that tension, sometimes when 3 or 4 things happen bad in a row, you just can't for a minute, and that would be
Hmm.
a time when it's almost like a lifeline to get
Mm.
you back to you so you can deal with those things. I didn't
Absolutely.
know that.
Yeah. I started doing Qigong well into, I've been in recovery for a long time, and I started doing Qigong well into my recovery journey.
Uh-huh.
I often think back to when I first began my process of getting sober. If I had had this practice, what would my life have been like if I've had this kind of practice? It could have done nothing but enhance the experience. But it continues to enhance my life and my recovery every day. And I've been
Mhm.
in recovery I'm in my 18th year,
Wow.
and it's just part of my spiritual practice as well. It's mindful movement, and it's a moving meditation, and and in 12-step recovery, there is a step that refers to prayer and meditation, just to improve your conscious contact with a power that's greater than yourself, whatever that is. And Qigong is definitely a tool that I use to help me do that.
That's amazing. And then even if, if someone is in recovery as well, or even if they've never had any kind of addiction, we're all going to have cycles of stress.
Oh,
So the more
absolutely.
tools that we have in our arsenal, and it could come out of nowhere, and it could be so uncertain, like have no end in sight, go on for a year or so. And at some point, even like people that are strong, or people that already know how to do certain things, or people that just try to repress things or put them off, at a certain point, that's going to break without something that you have in your life that you're also incorporating every day. And this sounds just perfect, absolutely perfect for it.
It is. It is. In my experience, absolutely.
So once someone takes a course, then will they have like a certain practice that they'll do, or is that kind of up to the individual to tailor, or is there a certain set that people do?
Well, in all the courses that I've created, each module has a Qigong practice that's attached to it. And you can just do that practice as often as you like, or do the 5 days or however long the course is and how many modules there are, do it as often as you like, or you can mix the order, whatever is whatever you're guided to do. I try to give people the freedom that they need in order to explore it and have their own movement experience. I guide you through it initially, but eventually it's something that you want to take on and make it your own. So
and the fluidity of that is that if someone has a real sore shoulder and they would want to do more time on that, and they're fine in some other area, you're not kind of like stuck in a certain rigid form, but can build their own custom tailored thing to what suits them best. And that could change too, as we change.
And when I teach, I always advise people to listen to their body, modify where they need to. And also if there's a movement that does not feel right for your body that day, that moment, you can always skip the exercise and then do the following one. So there is room for that kind of exploration and that kind of custom tailoring for oneself, because you only want to do something that's going to make you feel good and make you feel better. If it's something that's going to make you feel worse, or you're going to feel resentful doing it, then that's definitely the wrong direction to be going in. We want to go in the direction of feeling good, feeling positive, feeling energized, feeling balanced. That's where we want to go.
Something that you look forward to doing, something that feels good while you're doing it. And that is going to be, that's like the opposite of school, PE class. And then like you have to take this, and then you do it, and maybe you feel good after or something, because you had exercise, but you don't look forward to it. And there's almost an anxiety that comes out of that. So this is again a totally different thing about, it's like giving yourself something that is also good for you. And that's a whole bunch of anxiety, guilt, all kinds of things that we can erase by making this part of a practice. That's amazing. I think sometimes too is like the breath and the energy and the movement, that cures a lot. Like there's a lot of things that get so mental, and you're like, well, that makes sense, and that makes sense, and that makes sense. But then it's like, okay, but now what? And this seems to just go right in. They say like, actions speak louder than words. Well, maybe movement and breath can sometimes help more than just talking about it and understanding it, just how this is like moving into the next level.
Right.
That's really amazing. I am learning things. I am learning things today.
So am I. Hearing some of the things that I'm saying, I'm like, yes, that's right. That's right.
Like, oh, that sounds good.
Keep reminded of that as well. Sometimes we take for granted what we know.
Yeah. And then, and maybe even, like I said, for people who have never even heard of this before, it's probably hard sometimes where to even start, because you know so much about it, and it's like, it's probably hard to even start, but start where you are and start with one and go from there.
Yes.
That's great. Do you have like any kind of breath work or any kind of like, I know people sometimes have a sore neck. Do you have something that you can show us that we could do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the first thing we could do is just connect to the breath. So I
Okay.
always like to advise people to just place their hands on their belly, just below their navel, and just take a deep breath in through your nose. And as you inhale, feel your abdomen expand. And as you exhale, feel your abdomen soften. So again, breathing in through your nose, feel your abdomen expand. And then breathe out through your nose and feel your abdomen soften. So we're bringing energy and awareness to the center of the body, because this is where we hold our power. And with each breath we draw into the body, we draw this life-giving, energizing substance, which is air, oxygen, into the body. And then our body uses that energy. And then when we exhale, we release a little bit of energy back out to the environment. And let's take another breath together. And release the breath out. So that's a really simple exercise that one can do just to connect to the breath. It calms the mind, relaxes the body. It's brilliant. It's so simple, and it's always available to you. Another thing that
Yeah.
one can do is I like to you can't do it because you're holding a phone in your but I can do it by taking my hands like so.
Hmm.
And we interlace the fingers like so, and we just draw little figure eights with the hands where there's one palm on top of the other, and then we switch, and then the other palm is on top of the other palm, and you're stretching out your forearms and your wrists. So this is a wonderful exercise just to move energy through the hands and the forearms where a lot of people tend to have discomfort and pain. So if you have any wrist issues, carpal tunnel, this is a good exercise to do. Arthritis.
It feels so peaceful too.
Yeah.
And then energetically, I know like the hands are control. So it's even just having, it reminds me of those, you remember those, it looked like a box and it wasn't a lamp really, but had water in it and it would make a wave back and forth. It reminds me of that, like the motion.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels almost like it just unplugs you from all the scattered chaos and just plugs
Yes.
you right in just to yourself.
Yes,
It's like shut
absolutely.
everything out.
Gives
That's
you a
pretty
chance to
amazing.
check in with, give you a chance to check in with yourself. There's so much in life that invites us to check out and not
Uh-huh.
pay attention to what's happening with Doe, what's happening with Stephen. This is an invitation to check in with yourself, what you need physically, emotionally, and mentally.
And to just slow down. Like
Yeah.
everything's so lightning fast and busy and there's never enough time. Even though supposedly we have all this like technology that's supposed to make our lives easier, it's really just kind of sped it up and given us more stuff to get distracted. So to do that unplugging and just
Yeah.
stop time for a minute and be with yourself and your energy and do
Mm-hmm.
a little self-healing, that's great.
And what comes to mind too is this is an opportunity. What we're talking about is an opportunity to just practice discernment. Discernment in terms of what you give your attention and your time to and your energy.
Mm,
Because there's so many things
yeah.
that want to pull you away from yourself.
And becoming more aware of or aware for the first time of
Mm-hmm.
your own energy and how it feels.
Oh,
Then it
absolutely.
might just you might become like more sensitive. If
Mm-hmm.
someone comes at you with some scattered energy, you might be like, oh no, I don't want any part of that. Whereas if you weren't aware of your energy, you might just get sucked right into that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Not knowing where you begin, where you end, and where someone else begins and where they end, and and where the energies between the two of you meet sometimes can become enmeshed. I think Qigong is also a wonderful practice in terms of becoming clear about your own energy and what belongs to you, and then what belongs to others.
So that's like an actual boundary that you can feel. A lot of people talk about boundaries, but it's kind of like in theory, oh, you should have boundaries and tell people, no, I'm not going to do that. But if you can actually feel it, you don't have to try to think in the moment, like, oh, is this crossing a boundary? Are they asking me too much? Should I say no here? Because those moments pass by so quick. But if you can feel it and say like, and pause right there and like, something doesn't feel right, I'm going to have to get back to you on that, even just to pause it. Well, this is just something else. It's just so many things, and things that you don't have to overthink. You can just do and then reap the benefits. That's wild. All right, well,
I was just going to say that's the wonderful thing about Qigong. I think it's an ancient Chinese practice that's been around for thousands of years, and there's so much to learn about it. But one thing that's great about it, much like yoga, is that you don't have to understand exactly how it works in order for it to work.
Right.
Yeah, like we don't understand we don't necessarily understand the ins and outs of electricity. At least I don't, but I know that it works, and I trust that it works.
I don't even know how to set up a podcast, apparently. But we just do it. Yeah. I like that. We'll figure it out. We'll cross our fingers. But no, this is that's a lot better. I mean, if there was a podcast software that was thousands of years old, you wouldn't mess it up in your podcast. But no, that feels great. And even just stopping and doing that breath back there, it's just and I mean, like I meditate in the morning, I meditate at night, and I do the long exhale. But to be honest, I become kind of detached from it with my mind. And this, I think, is to reattach your mind, because when you're doing something new and you're learning it, you're real attached with your mind, like, what is this, what I need to do? But sometimes maybe when you do things too many times without that conscious connection, you just detach from it. So your mind is not getting that benefit of slowing down. So that was a really great point that you said about how it keeps the mind connected.
That reminds me of when I was a performer, when I was a dancer, we would sometimes talk about how you can perform the dance and be really present and perform it, or you can kind of mark it, which is kind of half doing it and kind of phoning it in.
Yes, go through all the motions.
Yeah, going through the motions, phoning in a meditation instead of being really present with your breath.
That's so funny. I didn't even realize I was doing that.
We can all do that at times, right?
Yeah, and it's that thing again about not being mindful of your energy and trying to keep up with the future before it's here,
Yeah.
And not just being here, which is that's the only place there is.
It's true. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
It's too simple to be true.
Yeah. Seriously, thank you so much. I've learned, I mean, I've watched your videos. I've like read a lot. I thought I knew stuff. And this, I'm just like, whoa, I was like, I'm brand new. I was like, oh, for people that don't know. Well, I didn't know like 3/4 of the stuff we talked about today. So thank you. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to put all your links to your website and your courses and your Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and then people definitely check out the YouTube, I think, as a start, because everything's right there and you can kind of see an overview of all the intro stuff that you have.
Yes.
I'm slowing down to say hi.
Yes. And also,
hi, I'm doing a live broadcast. Hang on. One of my neighbors has apples for me to make.
Oh, sweet. And if anyone who goes to my...
Thank you.
That's great. And if anyone...
I bake apple crisp and cookies, and so my neighbors will like get me apples or chocolate chips or something.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
So that's why he yelled apples at me. Sorry. Okay.
No, I just want to say, if anyone goes to my website, WashingtonExperience.com, if you sign up for my newsletter, you receive a free gift, a free recording and PDF. So come on over, check out my stuff, and receive a free gift. and I'd love to see you again really soon.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry, you had that beautiful closer, and oh man, I should have made the turn a minute earlier.
No,
Thank you.
the apples are great. The apple story is great. I love it. It's life. It's real life.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can have you again on like maybe to do a little more Qigong, or am I actually saying it right yet?
Yes.
Did I say it right? I did? Okay. I said it quietly into the side just so that like I don't know the words to the song yet, but no, thank you so much. I feel like I want to, as soon as I get off here and I go back home and get my apples, I want to go on your YouTube and see, because I haven't been on there probably at least like a couple weeks, I think. So I definitely want to check out what's new on there and do some of the other ones again, because I did not realize how disconnected I'd got besides my morning and my night, but there's a lot of hours in the day besides those. So this is something I'm going to start doing a lot more. Yeah. Well, thank you so much again, Stephen. You have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you for your patience and your kindness through the technical difficulties.
Oh, no worries. No worries. So good to see you again. This was a lot of fun. Have a great rest of your walk and day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.